There. How's that? Fucking OBS. Yeah, I hate it. Every time they do an update, something stops working, and you don't know until you start. It's like, what the shit, guys? Could you reprogram something without changing all my settings? Thanks. What, you mean like all the small glowing stuff? Honestly, it's so intense and it's not broadcasting so much on her. I'm probably just going to go with a really bright neon green with a hot center to the light, and that's about it. There's not going to be a lot of like bounce. Because there's nothing in front of it or next to it for it to bounce off of. Like, that's one of the things that makes OSL work on some things, is that there's something protruding past the light source for it to illuminate. But if it's a recessed light, you won't see it on the outside surface. That's the thing that makes a lot of OSL not believable to me. Is that you've got the light bouncing to places where it shouldn't be. And I've even got a collection of photos that are all screen grabs. And the only glow you see is more due to the virtual camera lens and less due to light reflecting off of objects. You get more shimmer from her suit than you do anything else. I may have to set this down so the hair can dry, so I can hold it more effectively. I really don't need to be doing a drop. Well, that didn't take long. I still haven't ordered that hind. I'm guessing maybe I should, just because if I don't, I may not get a chance to get it at this price again. Feels like every year it goes up every time I find it. What kit was it that it didn't have a cockpit? Every 72nd scale hind I built had a cockpit. Or do you mean the details just weren't there? It was all decal. So I'm thinking old school Italeri or Hasegawa. And as you can see, I'm a little shaky today, so we'll do painting as long as we can, but we may have to switch up to something else. I wasn't expecting to sleep the better part of 12 hours between yesterday and today. Those are details. It actually came out pretty clean. And then I re-cleared it after I was done cleaning it up as much as I needed to. Got a little frosty during the curing process. So are you doing your A6 Desert Storm style or Vietnam style? The brown version. Talking A6 or A7? I remember some A7s being camouflage with brown and sand, but not A6s. Then again, my memory seems to be failing me these days, so... Oh, the tribute aircraft. Yeah, they painted it more like the old school planes. That's olive drab, that's not brown. Yeah, that's straight up olive drab. Or are you talking more of the camouflage, number 511? That would be a cooler one, I think. But yeah, that's just straight up olive drab over light gray, like an old P-38. I take it that A6 didn't survive moving very well either. The pic I saw was light gray over dark. Or dark green over light gray. Now it just asked me to sign up or log in. You're talking about the bottom page. Okay. Base color, sand. Darker color. I almost want to say dark tan. But unfortunately, the tester's colors for those don't exist anymore. You'll have to give me a minute to look up what the Vallejo colors are. Just message me after the stream and we can get on it, because I don't want to have to keep stopping stream and breaking my train of thought. That's been getting to me a lot lately. Yes. There's a couple ways to go about it. You can print out the camouflage scheme, make photocopies of it, so that way the template for like the tail and the wings, the areas where they need to line up are exactly matched. And then you can cut it out and use it as a mask. Use a thin roll of blue tack underneath the paper. And don't spray under the paper, but just like almost directly down to get your edge. That would do it, but you have to make sure your mask is the exact right size. Or you paint down your basic layer of sand, get your decals applied for what markings need that, and then apply your dark tan, obviously the other way, but just mask off over the sand part of the decal so you can line it up better and not risk ruining it. Just time and patience is all you need. One of which I know you've got a lot of, the other, I don't know. I did it the last stream. Painted it white, gave it a layer of this. Come on. Just gave it a coat of that, and then I lightly overbrushed it with white again. Just when you do that, you have to make sure that the paint you're using, don't overload the brush. Like, get most of it off. Not like dry brushing, but basically unload the brush and make it so when you lightly drag it over your fingerprint, you only paint the raised ridges of your fingerprint, right? Come on. You get the idea. And that way it only catches on the highlight of the high portions of the lace. And then you can do stuff like this. Because she's also got a lace choker. But it's a black lace over her skin. I think the point I did it on the last stream is where you passed out for a while. I forgot to fill a drain hole. Oh well. I don't think you can really see it anyway because the wings will be covering it. There is one piece of her bodysuit I've got to paint by hand, and that's going up in here. I didn't want to have to mask around all that, painting the silver and green. Now, if I was really thinking ahead on this, I would have printed the tie in actual, like, clear resin, and then dry brush the white, so that way the lace would be a 100% see-through to the flesh colors that would be underneath it. But it's okay. It works for what it is now. I think the C920 keeps the colors a bit more vivid than the other camera. That's why I switched them. So actually, let me get the silver out so I can brush paint that on the one area and let that dry. Probably go a little heavier on... But I'll have to get with you later on the colors for the A6 because they're the same ones that were on the OV10 and Desert Storm. There we go. Well, I know it sounds strange, because there's been times that I've been just in a mood, right? And then I'll just say, fuck it. And I'll pick something up and make it my priority project until it's done. I don't care how good it is or bad it is when it's finished, but I'll just work on it till it's done. Yeah, I'm gonna stray a little bit from how it looks in the game, because in the game all the metal bits look like they're painted black. I'm gonna go with a dark metallic color on them just to pop them a bit more, give it more something. Ow. But if you got a Wally World nearby, I know they got decent bookshelves for 35, 40 bucks. And if you want to, you can install your own LED strip light and stuff like that in it. I know what I could do. In the classic words of David Kay, yes. I have metallic black that I can use on the metal bits and then just highlight them with gunmetal. Problem solved. But first I need more regular black. No, they are dark gunmetal. Never mind. Okay. Yeah, at certain angles, even her wings are almost invisible. Okay. Yeah, if you're just looking to hunker down and get it finished, though, get yourself a couple of shelves from Wally World. Get some more of that strip light from Amazon that we've been using. Basically, make yourself some illuminated shelves. Damn, you'd think I'd had 4 cups of coffee this morning when I haven't. Everything go okay at your appointment? Did you stay up for the lunar eclipse last night or no? I wanted to, but yeah, nature had other ideas in mind. Gotcha. Do you think you need one, or are they working okay now? Ah, damn it. Yeah, last one I saw was, I think, in 2000 in Florida. 2001, sometime around there. Okay, that strapping is black too. I don't have chat up, just give me 1 second. But what's great is I knew the last one was coming when the last one I saw. But I was in an art school full of fucking stoners and mescaline heads and stuff like that, so not only was it cool watching the eclipse, but it was cool watching all these little artsy-fartsy drug heads flip out. That out of the way. Yeah. Didn't graduate. You know, that little thing called September 11th happened, and I decided to change career paths for another 6 years. But I'm still mostly self-taught, if that's what you're wondering. Because what I wanted to do no longer exists. Yeah, the stuff I wanted to do, the market no longer exists. It's already overstaffed. How's that? It's the same reason why people like Adam Savage now make their money on YouTube going, look what I can look at. Not, hey, look what I'm making for this now. Because he did what I wanted to do. Even Randy Cooper did what I wanted to do. And some studios still use models. But at the same time, the houses that do them are more selective now. And the market's much, much smaller. No. Effects models. Are there houses still out there that do that? Yeah. But unfortunately, I'm too old now and too jaded, I guess you could say. That's why I build so quickly when I do get into the groove, because I don't care about 100% perfection. I just care that it looks good when it's on display, right? Yeah, you can look close at it and see its flaws. Don't really give a shit. The Enterprise D has coffee stains if you look on it at the right spots. I'm not kidding. The flat area between the engineering section and the warp engines, there's an area that somebody spilled coffee on it. It's in the Christie's auction photos. And you can see the stain there. But with the studio lighting, you don't really see it, and it gets blown out by the lighting in the camera lens, the aperture and all that by the time it's on screen. But I was also doing a secondary in computer animation and industrial design, and the programs have just gotten so much more than I can wrap my head around. I know, bad excuse, but that's how it is. I've tried. I've looked at some of the newer programs, and if I was still back in school, right? If I was still back in college doing it, I'd have the time to be able to dedicate to learning it. Like, I knew Photoshop back in 99, 2000 really well. Perfectly, no. But I knew how it worked, I knew where the commands and controls were. I understand that it hasn't changed that much, but it has changed. The tools aren't exactly the same, the things you did with it don't work the same. You know, there's been enough changes where I would be at square one again. Okay. I was trying to figure something out. I saw something and then I unsaw it. However dumb that sounds to you, it sounded just as dumb to me. Ah. I have to see something really quick. Okay. Just a detail that I noticed was there in the renders, but not in the final. But that's okay. But does that little, hey Flight Sim, does that little revelation have you reconsidering why I was able to do the murals and stuff so readily? Like I was able to just say, I need this, 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 and this. might work. Before I get into the white, I want to use up the rest of this black and finish painting her ponytail. Yep, same as last stream. I need bigger brush. They were shared to me by a friend. He bought them. I discovered them, though. I forget which of the usual sites it was on. All I can say is don't buy off Etsy. And if a figure like this is $3, it's probably been stolen. That's it. Yep. When you can, do your research, find the original file creator and support them. Do not support resellers. So do not buy off Etsy unless you know for sure that the Etsy store is the originator of the files, which 99% of the time they are not. So you wonder why your favorite file creators suddenly stopped making stuff. It's because people thought it would be cool to download their stuff. They bought it for $15, but then they resell it on Etsy for $3 a pop and tripled their return. Meanwhile, the original creator didn't see a dime of that outside of the initial $15 purchase. Same as buying recasts in the resin market. Look for watermarks in the pictures. If you see the watermark, search up the actual artist and find their store on a more legitimate site. Something like CG Trader, Cults, or My Mini Factory. That is one long-ass ponytail. This is like a 21-hour print. What else has he done? That Mononoke one's kind of cool. How much of a Tachikoma does his major come with? I'll stick with the one I already have. I gotta restart printing on it anyway. I'm surprised you haven't downloaded the 2B he's done. Over 1/6, I know that. It's 200% from the original files. Had to have some custom cutting work done on the files in order to make it fit. Everybody wants 2B until they gotta paint the lace on, or paint the trim detail on her dress. I should know. I've done it. Yeah, the one from Nom Nom's pretty good. I almost want to try reprinting it again and see if I can get it larger, but then the base may not fit. Nope. But I urge you to look up more thorough tutorials on YouTube explaining that. Because if I have to stop to explain every little minute detail of printing, we'll never get anywhere. And if I sound like an asshole, I'm sorry, but I've tried asking the simple questions before and been told to pound sand, or I've been given overcomplicated answers that did not answer my question. So I am mostly self-taught when it comes to this. I've tried helping others only to be basically shit on. So I don't help anymore with this stuff. I know it sounds bad, but when it comes to the complex natures of 3D printing, I'll talk about painting it all day long. But when it comes to the actual slicing and rescaling and things like that, nah. I've been shit on by too many people to really want to help anyone. And I know that sounds bad, but that's the way it goes in these communities. Sometimes you get good people, sometimes you get people who just shut you the fuck down. So when it comes to helping on this, sorry. Trial and error is the best teacher when it comes to this. The best advice I'll give is if you have a failure, clean your vat. Anytime you have a failure, clean your vat. Until you know your printer, you know what's going on. Anytime you have a failure, clean your vat. Even between prints, clean your vat. temperature, altitude, resin type, color, all that can change everything. So you could come in here and go, my print keeps failing, it's doing this. What kind? Resin. Okay, you failed to tell me it's black resin. Oh, that's because your settings are too low, or whatever. You know, there's so many things that aren't conveyed through text over problems that I don't bother answering many questions anymore when it comes to that stuff. Again, I don't mean to be an asshole, but I learn by trial and error. Yeah, there was that one stupid cold winter we had here. I had to preheat my plate before I printed, just to make sure that it adhered right. Actually, yeah, let me do the dark metallic next, because then I can touch up around it with the green on the straps when I go to do that. Okay. Where did I put my dark metallic? It's up here. Or I've helped people in the past and come back with, you told me the wrong thing. I'm like, no, I told you what I know from my experience and where I live with my equipment. And I'm only basing her hair in black. I know it's a very, very, very deep brown. We'll bring that in using some dark chocolate brown, maybe German camo. Don't want to go too bright with it though. And I found a better green for this strip here, less mint, more like the actual deep green that it should be. Oh, hi, Marmar. We're being yelled at by the marble cat for some reason. Hey, Marbles. Yeah, you can get some pettings. Is your eye being bothered again today? I wish he was a good table cat, but he'd rather be pet than held. And honestly, avoid forums and Facebook groups as well. The moment you start asking questions there, even the most basic ones, you'll get bombarded by, well, what resin mix are you using? I use 5% Elegoo with 10% Fluffamoo with, you know, and it's like, no, I just want to know why the print's failing right here. So just find something that works for you and stick with it. The old saying of keep it simple, stupid, really applies here. I'm not calling you stupid, but that's just how the saying goes. Alright. Enjoy your nice sunny days. Went from 60 and sunny here to 30 and snowy overnight. I'm going to have to scrub this down with a Q-tip, at least on the green, get my fingerprints off of it before I seal it. Because I think her whole suit is actually gloss. Oh, it's not. Just the green areas. Okay. I may still just do it all gloss anyway. Well, back in the day, forums used to be the place to go to get your information. Not anymore. And heaven forbid if you stand up for yourself and say, look, I just need this information. Like, I posted a picture of the dragon from Dragon Slayer, the model of it that I made, right? Pretty nice model, 32nd scale by Pegasus. You can still find it out there pretty cheap. And instead of, you know, oh cool, nice dragon, very well done, looks just like the one in the movie, you know, I get, oh, that's not actually this, that is this kind of dragon because of the way it walks. It's like, dude, it's a mythical creature. I just posted pictures of a model I built. I don't need a whole rundown on the genealogy of dragons. And boy, did that guy not like that. And I wasn't trying to be mean, but it's just like, yeah, it's a dragon. It's not like you're trying to tell me the difference between a 63 Corvette and a 67 Corvette. And yes, I know the differences between a 63 and a 67. Essentially, I did do that because he's like, "Well, that's not a wyvern. That's this." I'm like, I don't care. You don't what? Easiest answer, 63 had a split rear window, 67 did not. But there are other differences in the vents on the side of the 67 that differentiate it from the 64 through 66. And there's different engine and trim options available on it. Outside of that, it's a Corvette. But the difference being is those things actually exist. Um, make sure all the greases and oils are off. A lot of what I do is more by muscle memory, not knowledge, to be honest. If I run into an issue, it's because I was dumb and forgot something, or didn't realize something, but when I see what it is, I'm able to identify what it is and fix it. It's just, over the years, I know how much water to apply, how much to load the brush with, the different companies, their different temperaments as far as their mixes. I hate to say it, experience. I knew you of all people would come back with that, Eagle. Well, it depends on how you look at it. In a way, Santa does exist. If you had loving parents. Yeah, I know that's deep. So no, literally, no, he doesn't. Figuratively, yes, he does. Nah, it's kind of like walking off the coast of Florida. Shallow, shallow, shallow. What the hell? Gotta be really careful cutting this line. I'm gonna have to let the clear green cure for about a week, week and a half, and then I can go in with my clear overcoats and put them over it, because the Tamiya clears dry really, really slow. They stay gummy for a while. Hey, Kenneth. And if I put a clear coat over them that dries too quickly, later on the Tamiya clear can actually shrink underneath, causing surface cracks in the clear coat. No worries. I do have a 2-day weekend coming up, Saturday and Sunday. No idea what we'll work on. I'll try and make it worthwhile, though. So, is it the favorite YouTuber, or is it just the subject matter? What's an amazing story? Did I miss something? I feel like I missed something here. Alright, I need a shot of the actual character. Something's not adding up here. Enhance. I'm gonna go with metallic, but it's got a green trim around it. That works for me. No, which story? Yeah, I'm lost. Because I don't know the lag delay that you've got on your end as opposed to mine. You're confusing me. I'm too old for that. Stop. But for Sunday and Monday, we can either finish up painting, or not painting, finish up assembly on the Valkyrie girl, the Macross character, or we can get painting on Red Hood. Or finish painting on White Promise Roppy, and then painting on Red Hood. What is that noise? Oh, Marbles is being nice. Yeah, those will look good under a black wash. I work tomorrow, but then I've got, like I said, Sunday, Monday off. I'll try and plan something out for those days. Maybe even try and push myself to run a bit longer on those days. We'll see, though. Because we're expecting more snow, more rain. And for once, the wife was off the same time I was today, and we were supposed to go thrift shopping. But when we saw the weather and she took our son to school, it was snowing sideways. So it put those plans on hold too. Lucky you. I'm not in Texas. And typically March snows don't stick like it has been this year. We got some pretty strong late winter storms coming in that are actually quite unusual for this time of year. Not saying they never happen, but it just doesn't happen often. Well, you'll have to convince the wife of that. Oh, that's down in your neck of the woods. Here in the winter, it's dark by 3 p.m. In the summer, it doesn't get dark until about 10 or 11, depending on what month it is. And it's not even so much the housing prices, Aries. Oh, not even that. Even if I was by myself, I wouldn't want to live in Texas, to be quite honest with you. You've kind of got a reason though. and your reason is very valid. I just honestly don't like Texas. You know, can't put my finger on it. Just the time I spent there with training and everything, what I was able to see of the surrounding areas in both places. Absolutely not a thing I'm interested there at all. You know, not in a long-term residence. It's not me you have to convince. And where's your nearest forest? And I don't mean, oh, we've got a couple pine trees here, but it's still desert. I'm talking an honest to goodness, you go in and the sunlight's blocked out forest. That's kind of what I'm looking for. Yeah, where we're living, it's gonna be my backyard. Put it this way, the kind of house I want is essentially the one you just sold in Virginia, but just not Virginia. You know? And the weird thing about where it is in Washington, it's lower altitude, so the pressure changes shouldn't hurt me as much when the weather changes. But it also doesn't snow as much. It does from time to time, but nothing like Utah. So I'm just trying to make head or tail of this area here. And there's other things I want to endeavor to do that I think the space afforded up there will allow for. Is that the same strip? Kinda, sorta. Okay. You have to repaint that metallic bit. That's okay. This is why I'm painting the black first. There's so many overlaps of it. If I did the green first, I'd be touching up so much, it's ridiculous. I haven't even had the camera up. Have I been staying on camera at least with all this? For the most part? We're over time for our get up and move break, which we definitely need to do today. Using my smaller, thinner brush to get up under the arm. There. Go. So, how's the old C920 compared to the one I was using the other streams? I think the autofocus works a bit more reliably, and the color depth is a bit cleaner. Like, it seems to show the colors more true to how they actually are, where the other one was actually kind of washing them out. It looks cleaner? Okay. I'm able to adjust things more using the tools in OBS as well. The other one I couldn't adjust squat. So we'll allow the face cam to be the one that makes me look even uglier than I already am. Now the green I found is darker, but it looks more close to what should be here and on all the other straps and other pieces. But while I shake this up, we'll let this dry for a moment. I'm going to get up and do my walk around break. So I'm going to put the pause screen up and I'll be back in a bit. Okay, I am back. Get the music going again. It's been kind of a weird day today. Not bad, just weird. Restart this one. Okay. That doesn't look like the same green, but it is. Weird. Alright, I'll play it by ear. Do I have deep green? I do. I got the same one but flat. Alright. I think or not. Definitely not. Okay. So finishing might have to wait till Monday. We're not stopped yet. No, the bottle had been emptied, but I mixed another color in it. No big deal. It's just weird. It looks like this green is on the glove here, but the darker green is on the strip here. So this area here. And I'm just trying to get it to work in my brain. Because when you put it all together on the tie, it looks right. But when you have it separate, it doesn't. So I'm going to continue using this one for now. We'll let that dry while I paint other things. And I hope everybody else is getting ready to have a decent weekend. And like Aries was saying, if you got any chores or things you've been waiting to do, get them done. The only thing waiting does is make it take longer and make you stress out about it when you don't need to. Unless, of course, there's extenuating circumstances like, oh, I don't know, the weather's shifting about 40 degrees overnight. Because it was almost 70 yesterday. And I bet it was that pressure change coming in, combined with me already being tired from having been up since 5:30 in the morning. I took a nice little 4-hour nap. Yeah, if you compare it to the render, this green looks right. There's not exactly a border on the inside here, but I'm just going to transpose it because these don't lay down flat on the model. So you'll be able to see underneath them a little bit. I didn't even paint the underside of that one. Duh. Could have sworn I had. Let that dry for a sec. Actually, just switch brushes and go to do the finer stuff. How the fuck did my YouTube just open? Sorry, give me a second, guys. No, I don't want to get Microsoft 365 on my phone. What I love is these companies, you know, like Microsoft just then. Do you want to put 365 on your phone? It'll help with this, that, and the other thing. Next year, oh, you have no choice. You have to have it anyway. Who's over there? I just saw somebody walk by. Oh, hey Frank. Frankie. Come here. Frankie, come on. Come on. I know you don't you don't go trying to get in front of the camera all the time, so you can come up. Come on. Frank. Come on. Come here, big guy. Big boy. There you go. Hi. I need a cat break anyway. Good boy. Yeah. Hi. Boop. Yeah, you're 2 now. You're 2 years old now. He was brought to us in April a couple years ago. Which means he was born around this time. He fit in the palm of my hand. Wasn't I streaming when the wife brought him down? Because she's like, oh, our son's friend brought him over. Really? But here he is. Nobody else wanted him. We put out the poster saying, did anyone, you know, lose a kitten? Stuff like that. Put it out on the Facebook groups. Nobody responded. Shelters were full, so... Hi. Good boy. I'm going to go back and tighten up the buttons with metallic paint. Just using this as a chance to get sloppy with the green. To put the ring around them. We can come in and put a tighter metallic ring on that after it dries. But ordering the fenders might be delayed by a week or two. I just want to be sure I've definitely got all my ducks in a row for when I get them. Maybe I have too many hobbies. I mean, the RC tanks kind of go with model building. They can kind of sit when they're not in use. So that's not too much, but... these go on there. No, that's my raccoons that are on fire and running all over the place. There's a difference. Oh, Aries. You probably haven't noticed in your area because it's become so developed. Do you have possums in Texas? You probably got to search a little bit to see them. Oh, mittens up. Because that's another requirement for where I'm moving to. I want possums again. I've raised them before, so... I miss having my little woodland creatures around. Like where I'm living right now, we have no squirrels, no groundhogs, nothing. I want to be able to go out every couple months, buy a seed block and some other stuff, and just get the wildlife back outside the window, yeah? Well, because they are nocturnal. If you're seeing possums during the day, it means they got disturbed. Coyotes are everywhere. Coyotes are like dogs that are raccoons, you know. They're everywhere. Believe it or not, raccoons originally weren't in America, especially here in Utah. They were introduced as a hunting animal. And then they got loose and kind of, just like everywhere else, became a nuisance. But Utah especially did not have raccoons way back in the day. We're not even allowed to relocate them if we find them. We just gotta kill them. And we got tons of coyotes here too. Not exactly where I am because of how built up it is, but we got them. I don't know if I'll have Eve done today. There's still quite a bit to do. I remember when my parents moved to Arizona, my dad sends me a picture one day of a bird and he's like, "What the fuck is that?" And I just responded with, "Did you see a coyote chasing it?" He goes, "No, why would I do that?" It's like, that's a roadrunner. He had a roadrunner living in his backyard. But he had that, ground squirrels, all kinds of different lizards. For living in, Phoenix, he had a pretty diverse biome in his backyard alone, which was actually kind of cool. And that's kind of what I want, just not with the desert animals. And I know I'd have to keep it in check, because if I don't, then I start getting rats and rodents and snakes. Not that I mind snakes either, but we just don't want the wrong kind of snakes. Garter snakes and racers and corn snakes and things like that I'll tolerate. Rattlers? Hell no. And yes, I know rattlers are beneficial. They can go be beneficial someplace else. Okay, now that I'm starting to get all the details in, it's actually kind of blocking together a bit better, isn't it? Still gotta paint all this little stuff in here. It's beginning to look more like the character, though. Won't truly happen until I get her face together. Sometimes faces, depending on how detailed I have to get, since this one's going to be a bit more realistic, probably going to take a couple days to really get it nailed down, because I need to get the basic tones in, which I've already kind of done, but then when I do the eyes, I've really got to study how they did the eyes on the CG model for the actress, so I can kind of replicate that and it just doesn't wind up looking like a weird anime character. But this kind of, like, I'm gonna have to go back in and retouch the black here, I think. Maybe. But this kind of brush control is where knowing your paints helps. It's harder to do fine detail like that with something like Tamiya, where you want something that won't dry as quickly like Vallejo. Because that way it stays wet on the brush longer, it doesn't skin over as easily, and it allows you to touch it and drag it. Tamiya has a tendency, even if you thin it right for brushing, once you got enough experience with Tamiya, you can do that all day. But learning how to do it it takes a while. So unless it's an extreme situation, I try and keep Tamiya for broad areas and Vallejo for details. Unless I have to have a color that I cannot find anywhere else. Okay. Now I'm gonna try something. I'll try it off model first. I want to add a little bit of black to this green to see if it knocks it down just a hair so it looks right when I have to do the other part. Because sometimes it can make it too gray. It doesn't need to knock it down a lot, just like that. I'm gonna run with it. For right here. Just this doesn't feel as intense as her gloves and everything else. And it's not by a lot, it's just by like just a little bit. I mean, for future streams though, would you guys rather see me do something like scale model related next stream, or give me some suggestions. I've got some things I could order or some things I already have on hand. One long-term project I've always had in mind is I want to do the Alien Hind. It's something I've wanted to do for years. And that's why I think I might be delaying the fenders by a week or two. Just want to know what you guys think overall. That's what I'm thinking, Aries. Just fuck it and do it. It's not like the car's in danger of falling apart. I just don't want the fenders to get more expensive. They've already gone up $50 in the last year. But before I even get to the Hind, is there anything else you'd like to see? Tank, LAV-25, Humvee stuff again. Alien Hind will take a while due to the fact that I have to hand paint the entire fucking thing. I can airbrush the base splotches in I'd need based on pictures of the real one during painting, but after that it would be almost all hand painting with a little bit of fine airbrush work if I can manage it. But just to change it up, I know I've done a lot of figures and a lot of sci-fi and stuff like that. It seems like the frame arms type stuff isn't too popular. So I'm just trying to get a read on how the audience is adjusting to things. And a bonus for the Alien Hind, while I'm building it, I could assemble things like the fuel tanks and some other portions of it that also get painted with the same scheme, but it'll allow me to refine the process to mimic what's on the actual helicopter without having to wait till the whole model's done, you know? Like the fuel tanks, the front of them look like facehugger eggs or legs or something like that. No, there's little bits I could do here and there. Kind of get in the groove and refine the process before I'm doing it on the whole helicopter. And I've never seen anybody do it in 35th scale. I've always seen it done in 48th or 72nd where somebody made decals for it. Now I've said that, I'm sure somebody's going to find a link to it. I wish I could have shown you all the process for painting the green on this, but I had to paint it in my airbrush hood, and I don't have a way to stream over there yet. But essentially, I masked off the area, painted it using Vallejo Metallic Air Silver. Once that dried, I put thin Tamiya clear green over top of that. Way more green than I need on the palette, but that's alright. I hardly use this color anyway. I think after stream I'll go in, figure out the shipping and everything, and then put the money in my account to order the Hind. Enough dilly-dallying and wishy-washying and all that. And if I don't get projects like this out of my system that I keep waiting on and waiting on, I think that's what keeps feeding into my lockups. Like, I want to do this, but I keep not getting to it. Kind of like with the refit. Once I really started on that, there was no stopping. once I just said fuck it and started working on it, I really didn't stop for much. The only reason I stopped doing anything on it at the time was I needed to let the decals dry, or I was waiting on setting solution, but it was not because I lost interest. And I got that done, and... What, Mittens? Up! Come on, up! There you go. Chair cat. Oh, he's here to start a thumb war. Aren't you? Huh, thumb boy? Yes, Mittens declares a thumb war. Hey, buddy. Yeah, Mittens is a weird one. I don't want to see... He hates being held. You know, he will flip out and claw you if you try and pick him up. He just does not like being held. But he loves affection. Like, when he's comfortable, like, when he does this, I could get up and just snuggle him all day, right? But don't you dare try and pick him up. That's how I got my nice little cut on my nose a couple months ago. And he didn't mean... He didn't, like, outright try and scratch, you know? He wasn't mean about it. He just... flipped out, you know, he just kind of got squirmy and flipped out. Alright. Now let me try something else while we got the gloves out here. If I can find the bottle. That is not it. Nope. There it is. How's the music been for you guys too? Because I've been using that that one Evil Sound channel from YouTube. Has it been better overall? Let me guess, you can't even hear it. That seems to be working all right. Not too dark. Okay. That's good. Where are you going? Getting down. I'm adding a 50-50 mix of light ghost gray and white to all the shadow areas, just to pop the depth a little bit more. I'm not trying to blend it or be fancy. Once it dries, it'll be a little bit darker, but if it looks out of place, I can go back and touch up around it. But if this works like I expect, it should provide enough punch given the size of the figure. Because I'm trying to keep most of it clean and not go too far into weird blending and shading territory with it. Because even the way the character is rendered is like that. That looks alright. And now this. Actually, no. Clean off my palette. We're also at our second break time. So I'm going to pause again, get up, move around. Probably get the laser pointer out. No worries, Kenneth. I'm still here. We're just going to put the pause screen up for a minute while I take a quick stand-up break. Alright, I'm back. With the whiteout, tackle, small detail on her back. And I want to finish up all the detailing on her back first before I move on to any other parts. Now you see how I'm just barely able to paint just the print on my fingerprint, and it's not getting down into the recessed areas. Like that. That's how I've done all the lettering here. And the symbols. Going over this again in case I rubbed any of it off, which looks like I have. So what do y'all think of Death Stranding 2 coming out soon? Arnie, good lord. For being the old man, you're being the aggressive one. I'm interested to see where Kojima's gonna go with it, but at the same time, it felt like the original game was wrapped up nice and neat with no requirement for a sequel. Metallic back out. Actually, while I've got the white, let's throw her primary eyeballs in. So she's going to look creepy until we start putting pupils and irises in, but that'll be later. Maybe I need to go play this for a minute just to get a look at her sword. Yeah, that definitely is a different green on her bodysuit. Okay. I made the right call there. Alright. But this was also my first time using a clear resin. I think I did okay. Fewer base layers, so 4 instead of 6. 2.5 second exposure time. All my other settings the same. It worked out okay for me. Hi, buddy. What can I do for you? Hmm? What, old man? Yep, you're definitely showing your age now. He'll be 19 this summer. Or no, 18. Oof. So has anybody else got plans for the weekend? I know Aries said something about getting his hobby room in order. What's everybody else got going on? Depending on how Sunday goes and what the weather puts out, I may or may not think of taking a trip to one of the hobby shops down in Salt Lake. Don't know yet. If I'm ordering that hind tonight, probably not. I want to at least get this mounted onto the body, but I may save all the final assembly till last as well, just because there's so much that can get in the way. But I have to get this on before I can get her head and everything else on anyway. One thing I didn't notice before is there's actually a little tab here that glues onto her hair. So when you get her hair put in place, it'll lock onto that. Okay, there's that. You've been so patient, old man. Yeah, do some more pettings. You're a good boy. I still haven't seen any update on the Cygnus re-release. I've been looking online here and there from time to time. My only guess is any new news will be in May at Wonderfest in Kentucky, because round 2 will have their display table there, and I missed a lot of green on this. Hi, Allie. You can't come up, girl. Sorry. So if there is any update, it'll either be a placard or maybe test shots of the model in clear. So my fingers are crossed that we do get a 2025 re-release date for the Cygnus. No, Allie. Keep seeing her little head pop up over here like she wants to jump up. No room, girl. No. I'm not about to kick Arnie down just because of a petulant child cat. And I forgot the marking on her ass. Yep, there it is. Okay. Looks like all the metal stuff's been done. Back to the hands. Unlock my thumb. At least the plus side trying to do the alien hind. If I'm unable to satisfy my own ambitions with it, the model does come with a really neat tiger scheme that I could also do. But the point is to do the alien scheme. And if you're wondering what I'm talking about, just Google alien hind. It was painted by the guy who used to run the Alien Papercraft site. And yes, I know I still have to paint her fingers. I'll get those when I get back on the rest of the face, because there's some blending I'll have to do there. Ow. What color is the base of her hair? It just looks metallic to me. Yeah, it is. Yeah. Okay. Let's get your tail off the painted part. Thank you. Crazy cat. If I remember right, that's where her sword hilt goes when she's not using it. It becomes a hair accessory, apparently. I am glad the ponytail's separate, though, as having to handle the head for painting with this attached would be an outright pain in the ass. Okay, we might be revisiting this model on Monday, depending on how far along I get. I'm not saying we're going to stop working on her today, but I'll probably keep tinkering. There's still a hell of a lot more to do. Before I wrap up, though, I want to get her her cheek emblem painted in. Some more white down there. But we're definitely at the point where we've got to let things sit and dry for a few hours. That's not good. Sorry, Marmar. There's only room enough up here for one kitty cat. Okay. Sorry if the light's getting in the cameras. I've got to have a good angle on this. And a thinner brush, I think. I don't even know if autofocus is working well for you guys on this. Oh, surprisingly is. For the most part. Another reason I chose the Tamiya Clear Green is it is a slightly harder paint, in that if I did mess up royally, I could use a Q-tip to gently scrub the paint off after it dried. It just stays malleable longer when it comes to overcoats. It's a weird paint like that. But I think that's as good as I'm gonna get. Touch up a few final green areas. Take some in progress shots too. There's a lot I missed here, and I'm gonna have to address it before I end. Lost track of where I was and what I was painting. It's the inner part that needs to be green, with the outside bordered by black on this strap. Yeah, bright. That's better. We're getting there. That's better than it was. Okay. So don't let all this black paint go to waste. Do some sloppy setups here. There's going to be some dark gray and metallics going in here too. Not the green, I'm afraid, though. I can get more out and finish that later. But we are just a few minutes shy of the 3-hour mark. I hope to have some longer streams on Sunday, Monday, since I have 2 days off then. I don't have to compress all my laundry and stuff into one day. So, we'll wrap it up here, and hopefully see you all Sunday. I'll try and be on a little earlier. We shouldn't have any technical issues due to updates.